Hello there. I'm Charlie, aka Ronan Logan X, and this is Ronan Logan X Reviews. In this video, I'm taking a look at the Masters of the Universe Origins, Fisto and Stridor. To start off, I just wanted to say that as a kid growing up, my favorite Masters of the Universe figure was Fisto. I used to carry him everywhere. So I was very excited when they announced Fisto for this Origins line. As for Stridor, unfortunately, I never got him as a kid, as I believe all of my Masters of the Universe figures were hand-me-downs. So whatever I had was what was given to me. But I'm glad to have been able to add him to my collection now. Very briefly, before I start to get into my thoughts on these figures, I just wanted to say that on the whole, I'm really liking this Masters of the Universe Origins line. As someone who really loved the toys of the 80s, I love that they are trying to replicate that look as closely as possible while updating the articulation and posability of the figures. Starting with Fisto, he has all of the articulation you would expect from a figure of this line, with the sole exception of his giant metal fist. While you can spin it around, it is not detachable like a lot of these pieces are. For me, I've always thought that the swappability of this line has been a big draw, as it allows you to kind of customize your own figures without much hassle and create new characters if you like. But his fist does not detach from that hand, at least not easily. I wouldn't try it myself for fear of damaging the figure and the fist piece. But other than that, I think his articulation is pretty good. No complaints when comparing to other figures in the line. He comes with his signature purple sword, which you can easily pop into his hand, although it may pop out just as easily. And I will say that you're going to want to handle it with care when putting it into his hand, as that little bar of plastic feels very thin, and you're going to want to avoid the potential of breaking it. As for that, the only other accessory he technically has is his armor, which you can take off. And I've noticed that it's made of a softer plastic than the hard shell that came with the original. And by the original, I'm talking the 80s figure. Moving on to Stridor, he comes with a platform with a stand so that you can place him in a rearing pose, some blaster effects, which can be plugged onto his guns, both the two that you can plug into the sides on his shoulders, as well as the rear mounted gun. Although I would recommend handling that with care when trying to do so. And he also comes with an alternate face mask. Now, before I move on to the articulation, I did want to make mention regarding the platform, which is referred to as the stable on the box. They advertise it as you being able to add it to the Masters of the Universe Origins Castle Grayskull, which is true. You can slide it under one of the floor pieces on the bottom level. However, at least when I tried to do this, when you do place it, you are not able to fit Stridor in the stable while it's attached to Castle Grayskull. He's just too tall, even when in a static standing pose. Now on to his articulation. I think he's pretty posable. He has articulation in all four of his legs at the points where the legs connect to the body, as well as the knees and even the hooves. So you can get a decent number of positions out of his legs. He also features some articulation in his neck, both where it attaches to the body as well as where the neck attaches to the head. And there's even some articulation in his mouth, where you can actually remove the piece holding his reins in position. Now, unfortunately, this seems to have a spring hinge, so you can't pose him with his mouth wide open, but I think that's a nice little touch, all the same. There is also some articulation as far as his guns are concerned, where you are able to swivel the back-mounted gun from side to side, as well as the shoulder-mounted guns up and down. Although I would like to make mention that these shoulder guns, due to the way that they are plugged into the sockets, can have a tendency to pop out while you're positioning them. So I would recommend taking care, especially if you have any children or animals in your household, as you wouldn't want them to get a hold of it and potentially chew or swallow and choke on them. On the whole, I really love this Stridor figure, and I'm so glad I was able to pick it up. And of course, I also love this Fisto figure, not only because Fisto is my favorite character, but because I just think that this line in particular is pretty great. I would give both figures and the line in general a high recommend. I don't think you can go wrong with it, especially if you're a Masters of the Universe fan, whether you've been one since the 80s or if you're just discovering it now. I know that they also have the new line that they released to coincide with Masters of the Universe Revelations, and I think that line is pretty good. But I like the Origins line only slightly better, most likely because of nostalgia. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope it was informative and helpful in any decisions regarding the purchases of these figures. And if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, please comment, please subscribe. And if you're interested in any of my other creations, you can find me on Instagram at RonanLoganX, where I post toy photography pictures as well as puppy pictures of my pup Ripley. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.